Hello and welcome to another video about Cardano. In this video we're going to take a look at the most recent price moves of Cardano, but also of Bitcoin, because this is leading the market, so we always need to take a look at both together. Taking a look at all the price moves in the last few hours, days or even weeks. And before we start, thanks a lot for everybody who liked the recent videos. Really overwhelmed. All the new subscribers, welcome to this channel. And all the comments, that's really helpful for the algorithm, so please keep that going. Thanks a lot. And by the way, if you want to learn about technical analysis, I have recently created a second channel. You can find the link in the description, and in there I create a lot of tutorial videos. I normally use the Cardano chart for that, so you can learn about all the indicators and everything in more detail, because if I mention these or some other YouTubers are mentioning these in their technical analysis, I always try to explain a bit, but it's always difficult in these kinds of videos. So if you want to learn more about them, you can find a link in the description. Subscribe to the other channel as well. There will be very regular tutorial updates about different indicators and so on. Let's take a look at what is Bitcoin actually doing. So with Bitcoin, we can see, unfortunately, that we have left this ascending channel, ascending wedge that we have been trading in for a while now, since the 12th of July here on the weekly actually. Now we haven't left it, the weekly candle has not closed in outside. We can clearly see that. So it hasn't closed outside. This is the new weekly candle that has started today. So this is obviously still open, yeah, depending on how this week's candle is closing. Now that candle has closed now, but we've closed within, so that's actually a good sign. Yeah, so no weekly candle has closed outside of this channel yet, which is good, but we need to be definitely careful that this channel doesn't roll over, that the market doesn't roll over. So I've mentioned about this before, and I just want to make you aware that this could always happen, yeah, so that we are rolling over. You can see here on the weekly, last time we had the all-time high here in May, we saw Bitcoin rolling over as well, but it was a longer period. It took really a while, and just a word of caution, really, just be careful. And we see that all started when on the weekly we went outside of the Bollinger Bands, and then we snapped back in, and that's when we really started to lose momentum. So we haven't done that this time. We haven't hit the Bollinger Bands yet. We are still above the Bollinger Bands on the weekly, above the moving average within the Bollinger Bands, is a potentially bullish sign. Also, let's take a quick look at some other indicators. Let's take a look here at the ADX, which is measuring the trend strength. That white line, the white line is measuring the trend strength, currently below 20, indicating a trend has come to a stop at the moment. Then we're taking a look at the RSI, going down lower highs here on the weekly for a long time now. This is measuring the momentum in the market, guys, and the momentum is really slowing down. So we need to be aware, we need to be careful. Yeah, so we are still above 50 on the weekly, and 50 indicates, at least if we're above 50, it indicates that we're still sort of in bullish territory, but it is something to be aware of and to closely monitor. MACD, on the other hand, has made a really good sign just a few weeks ago, a bullish crossover on the weekly, so that indicates a longer term uptrend, potentially a buy signal. And even though prices are going down at the moment, just want to show you what happened last year, September. We talked about it before, but even on the weekly here, if we just go back, sort of the same area here. I mean, prices were completely different back then, but if we just make that a bit clearer, it's hard to see, but we have a huge drop end of August. So you just want to be aware that, you know, things can always happen, like a 15% drop we had back then. So just be aware, these things can happen. Just move that back in. So yeah, these things can happen. So even if we drop now like 15% or so, don't get a shock. It's not a huge sell-off then necessarily. We can still be in a bull market. So that there is no reason to panic. This is what happens in crypto markets. So this can also happen anytime. And if there's that much volatility in the market, guys, you know, these are to some degree manipulated as well. So just be always careful. yeah, just manage your risk. And we can't predict when the breakout will happen necessarily. Sometimes it's easier when there's a triangle forming or so, but even then you can't really say if it goes up or down. There is probabilities, you know, if you have a certain pattern forming, like for me on the daily here, you know, this could become something like a, whatever, like a triangle or something. It's not very clear yet, so it's not, can't guarantee it anyway, but this is sort of a trend continuation pattern. That's on the daily. So if we wait a few more days, maybe we get back into this apex at around 48,500, might then see a move to the upside. This could all be still a part of that bull flag that we called on the daily now, that has been forming since the 19th of August, where you've got the flagpole here, and then something like a descending channel or like a triangle forming. Bit hard to see, so it's not 100% clear. Yeah, we haven't retraced massively. So normally you say a bull flag forms when the retracement is not more than 50%. So we're taking a look at the how far have we retraced, and we have actually, yeah, we've actually retraced more than 50%. So we've actually retraced down to the 0.382 Fibonacci, not the 0.5. That would have been like the 5%, the 50%. So we just need to be a bit careful here. It could be not a bull flag. Again, these don't always play out, and also the 50% is more like an indication. But we can clearly see that here before we had something similar. Here from the 12th of August, 13th of August, going up. We actually retraced back nearly all the way down to where we started here, and then had another push. So overall, you know, we are still also on the daily. We're above that moving average of the Bollinger Bands, indicating bullish. So there is some space to the upside also from the, we haven't hit the upper end of the Bollinger Bands yet. Bollinger Bands. We are still on the daily. We are still in a trend, yeah, in an uptrend. You can see that here on the ADX, we're above 20, even though it's going down, still technically in an uptrend, also bullish from an RSI point of view. At the moment, there is no divergence because the price is going down as well. So the RSI is agreeing. Normally, if you had the price go up and the RSI go down, that would indicate a potential trend reversal, but we're already going down slightly, make lower highs on the Bitcoin, and the MACD on the daily is looking a bit bearish as well. So we've just entered the red territory. Won't go into the hourly, but let's take a look quick on the right hand side here. Just some of the indicators that are called here by TradingView, calling Bitcoin buy according to a summary here. The moving averages are a strong buy because we're basically very positive according to all moving averages. And the oscillators, as I've just shown you, like the MACD, is actually calling for a sell. So in summary, it calls for a buy, but bear in mind, this is just a sort of automatic analysis by TradingView here, taking all the indicators and oscillators into account. Let's take a look at ADA, what we're all waiting for. It's a bit overwhelming here at the moment, but let me just clear that up. I'll delete that. Let's start at the weekly as well, maybe. Let's start at the weekly as well. So let's go to the weekly, and I'm going to delete the Fibonacci levels here, just to re-emphasize before we start. As long as I've got them here on the chart, I drew the Fibonacci levels yesterday. We can see that here on the weekly, we had actually a nice retracement back to this 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level, and we have targets of $3.08, $3.13, $3.25. These are for me like the next price targets based on the Fibonacci levels, which have actually, these Fibonacci levels have been respected by the price. You can see that here we had one retracement down here. And you can see it clearer on the hourly anyway, but here on the weekly, it has been respected by the price as well. So it looks okay. So these are the next levels that I expect: 308, 313, 325, should we go beyond the $3 level. Now let's take a quick look here on the weekly. Again, looking like here we are actually in an uptrend. Yeah, here we are on an uptrend compared to Bitcoin, which has dropped below the 20 level on the ADX. So here we are actually above 20 on the ADX. So that looks very positive to me. Then we have on the MACD, we also had on the weekly a bullish crossover, which we've seen with Bitcoin as well on the weekly. and the RSI is actually in overbought territory on the RSI, which is overbought, but it oftentimes happens with cryptos when they are pumping. And we saw that last time from December 2020 on the weekly. We've been in overbought territory since May, guys, and that indicated a move to a new all-time high. Now, I'm not saying that will happen again, and we will stay in overbought territory for weeks or months. So if that happens, then we can prepare ourselves for massive gains, because should that repeat and we stay in overbought for months, guys, that means we are probably trading into very nice territory up here somewhere. Right, so let's take a look at the daily. Daily for Cardano, where are we? You can see there is some space to the Bollinger Bands. We recently hit the upper Bollinger Band that was here in 23rd of August, and then we made a break to the downside. Now we're back up. There is a lot of space to the upper end of the Bollinger Bands, so still some scope to move up. Not much volatility in the market at the moment, which shows that we're not close to the Bollinger Bands. Trading above the moving average of the Bollinger Bands, here the orange line coming up, so looking all bullish. On the daily, are we in an uptrend technically? Let's take a look on the chart here. Yes, we are in a clear uptrend. Can't even see that white line anymore. Need to make it a bit smaller. So strong uptrend, slowing down a little bit, but we're still in an uptrend very much on the daily. MACD, we need to be careful that on the MACD we are not making a bearish crossover here on the daily. That could be happening in a few days if we don't make a new pump yet. And we bear in mind we've been staying in this bullish mode since the 24th of August when the big pump started to happen, and since then we've been in a strong uptrend. So we don't want that bearish signal to happen. And on the RSI, let's take a quick look at the RSI before we take a look at some patterns. RSI also lower highs at the moment. Again, slowing down momentum, but we've just moved out of overbought territory, which on the other hand is a good sign as well, because we don't want to be in overbought territory all the time. Typically, when you enter bullish territory, when you enter the overbought territory, there is a potential move to the downside then to be expected. Now, where are we at the moment? We are at the moment somewhere which on the daily really looks like something like a bull flag. However, we also need to be careful that we're not making a double top here. So should we go down all the way to 250 again, there is really a risk that we break below this 250 line. Yeah, this is never guaranteed. I mean, I mentioned in the last few videos that I still am very bullish on Cardano. Also, you can see that if we take a look here at the technical indicators by trading view, just shows a strong buy based on the moving average, another buy as a summary, oscillators a bit neutral, bit better than Bitcoin. Clearly shows that Cardano has been outperforming Bitcoin now and is outperforming, but still we have a potential double top forming here, but we don't really know yet until we see each other at potentially 250 again. And if then we break that 250 or 248 level here, then there could be another break to the downside. So that is what many people are waiting for as well, because they want to buy back cheaper. This could happen. Yes, it clearly could happen. I, at the moment, estimate that we are just in a temporary pullback, which is only a very short-term pullback before we move to new all-time highs. That's what I think. And we take a look on the 4-hour chart and I talk a bit more about that. Here we can see a little bit more detail. Why do I think that? Well, even though we haven't made a new high now technically from here, which was the 296 level, 295, we haven't made a new high in the last few days, but you can see that we traded in this channel, which is part of a bull flag, and I've been talking about that now for since yesterday, I think, or the day before. Was a bull flag forming here, bullish formation, is a descending channel, and what you can clearly see is that we've broken out of this channel. We have tested this once more successfully. Now green candle. And we might be bouncing off this moving average of the Bollinger Bands now. So for me, this could just have been a last pullback before we take another attempt to move beyond the $3. Now, that's not guaranteed, but because we're now trading above this channel, for me, it looks actually quite good. You could also see this more short term, potentially as a triangle. which would indicate that the breakout is imminent, guys, because on the upside, we definitely had a few touches here. Just need to move that up a little bit. So, and then we are going to move into this support zone indicated by the purple rectangle, starting at 292, where we bounced off yesterday. Then we've got 295 and 297 with our all-time high. But yeah, this channel could have now moved over into a triangle, which is another trend continuation pattern. So if that is the case, and if we bounce off here, it could really indicate that we trade alongside like the 281 zone until later today. And then hopefully we see the break to the upside. We are above all the moving averages, guys. And let's take a look on the 4-hour chart. Can we see anything here? We are not technically in a trend anymore on the 4-hour chart because we're below the 20 level of the ADX. Also made a bearish crossover, unfortunately, here on the MACD. And the RSI is still in bullish mode, above 50, going up a little bit now again. And we just need to see what's going to happen. Maybe let's take another final look on the hourly chart, because that can give us a little bit more detail. But again, here we're still above the moving average of the Bollinger Bands, technically showing us bullish move or bullish momentum. We've been in there since the 27th of August on the hourly, on the 4-hour chart. Now here on the hourly looks a bit more bearish. However, what you can see, we actually broke on the hourly, we broke that Bollinger Bands moving average. However, we even went out of the lower boundary of the Bollinger Bands, bounced off this support of the channel. So again, indicating that this channel is a viable one. This channel seems to be, you know, be respected by the price. And if we bounce off normally from the Bollinger Bands, the candle has left the Bollinger Bands, is now snapping back in. That is a potential entry level for a trade just now. Now again, this is not a recommendation or anything. You always need to make your own decisions and research, but normally that would potentially be a trade that some people are trading. If we are in an uptrend and a candle moves out of the Bollinger Bands and snaps back in, and there is confirmation by another green candle, that normally indicates a move to the upside. So that what's making me bullish at the moment. Looking at the price action here, I think we only had a short pullback, and what makes me also bullish is that from here to there, we actually had a higher high, even though we haven't crossed the 295 yet, but here we had a higher high. Now something like a double top, I mentioned that just now, but we can see price going up, so we could actually move up to 290 again, to the upper end of the Bollinger Bands as it is currently. But this is obviously a bit like rubber and adjusting as well, but that could be our next attempt, guys, to move into this. What also could happen now that we're bouncing off here, we could be trading, as I just said, to the apex of this triangle. That's what I look for today. And you know, I follow these charts quite closely on the hourly, but these can change very often. On the hourly, not clearly in an uptrend, but to be honest, on the hourly, it's always a bit difficult to see. This ADX, don't oftentimes use it on the hourly, because these can change very often. So I'd rather prefer to look at oscillators on a 4-hour or daily or weekly chart, and then use something like here, these shorter term indicators like the Bollinger Bands on the hourly. So yeah, looking all good for me at the moment. Some people might have been disappointed that we've seen that drop yesterday, but that might actually be a good sign, because it is confirming again that we've been trading above this channel. We seem to be moving in that triangle, which is a trend continuation pattern. And if we look at the trend, it's clearly going up where we are coming from. We are coming from down here. We're trading above all moving averages, even though I don't show them at the moment here on this chart. Need to bring them back in, but this is extremely bullish. And we are testing this support level. And the more often we test it, we can't always fail. There will be a breakout at some point. And at the moment, for me, good sign that we're bouncing off and we've actually snapped out. See, the last time we've snapped out of the lower end of the Bollinger Bands was here, and we took another attempt on this resistance zone here just after that. You can clearly see that here we snapped out. I'm going to zoom in once more. You can clearly see that. Very similar move now. Yeah, a lot of volatility, and then we snapped out with a lot of momentum, or snapped back in. Just doing that now. So let's see what happens. That's what I'm looking for today. You can observe that today we need to get beyond 292 and sustain that. And that's one, so 3 scenarios basically. One scenario, from here we move up directly into that zone. We need to get above 292 and retest that. Then I think we can go into the $3, but really above 295. But 292 is like the entry into that zone. Second one is that we're trading alongside 282 for a while now, a little bit up and down between 285 and 280 or 279 for the rest of the day. And then at some point here as we move towards the apex, we move up. Third scenario, which I think is unlikely, is that we're dropping now, but in the crypto world, everything can happen. And then I see us falling down to 255 in the first instance. And then in that support zone here between 246 and 255, that's what I think. Then should we get below that? Not a massive good sign, because this is where we started this move here, and on a 4-hour chart this looked like a double top. So we need to be careful. Don't want to drop below that. That would be a lower low, which we don't want. So anyway, because I'm a long-term holder, I'm not bothered either way. I'm happy if I can participate in price increases and appreciation. I'm also happy if the price drops and I can buy more. So win-win. That's why I always do dollar cost averaging. Right, I hope that cleared things up a little bit. Hope my comments helped about the price moves. Again, if you want to learn more about technical analysis, get onto my second channel. Regular videos coming out there. There was already one today. Hope you liked that update. If you did, please smash the like button and also comment please, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.